Hello again, my friends. I feel like we've been here with you every day with these breaking Snap updates, and I really appreciate that you're still showing up with us because there is so much going on with this evolving situation right now. So, let's see. So, the federal shutdown, as you know, are we, okay, we're good. Um, as you know, we're now in the longest shutdown in the history of our country, and we're encountering a lot of situations that are a bit unprecedented. And SNAP has definitely been caught in the middle. And we've had a lot of updates, and things have been going back and forth faster than we can count. I am going to level with you right now. Up until a couple of minutes ago, I thought we had really good news today. I redid this slide deck 3 times as different news was breaking all day. And we have some new updates I'm going to have to update you on as soon as we get through this. But basically, that hearing was this afternoon in Rhode Island as a follow up to that case. And the judge did order that the government needs to fully fund SNAP benefits by Friday. You are probably going to be seeing that headline everywhere because when that news broke, a lot of people were very excited about it, as was I, because I know how much that help is desperately needed. Now, I have this beautiful slide deck prepared for you where we're going to talk about all the things that have gone on, what brought us to this point, and what to expect going forward. And if I were a good YouTuber, I would go through this whole thing before I tell you what I just read, because it's probably going to wreck our whole video here. But I do want to just be upfront with you and let you know that I just saw the update that the Justice Department is filing an appeal on this. So, when the judge originally said that he was going to order, partial or full funding of benefits, the Justice Department said, "Oh no, we're not going to appeal that," and then they moved forward with that partial amount. Now, the New York Times is what I'm looking at right now. The New York Times is reporting that the Justice Department has stated that they're going to file an appeal on the order for full benefits. So that is at the very least going to cause delays, if not an overturning of that order, and we won't know how that's going to play out for some time. Now, we do have a lot of other stuff to talk about today, including what went on in court today, the new revised tables they sent out, which were in my original slide deck, and then I took them out when the order came out because I didn't think they were relevant anymore, but now there's an appeal, so we're back to that. I am right there on this roller coaster ride with all of you, and I am trying so hard to stay up to date so that I can help you stay up to date. But this video is definitely not going to go according to what I had planned because of this breaking news situation. And this is why I keep the live ticker up on the side of my screen over here. You can't see it, but I have live news tickers over here so that if something changes while I'm talking, I can let you know. And this is a good example of why I do that. So let's start by going through what I had prepared as far as what was going on today, and then we'll dive into the new updates that came out of USDA about the partial payments, because it's not, I'm assuming because they already issued the guidance for the partial payments, that even with the appeal of the order for the full amount, that the partial amounts will still be coming, because it sounds like that's already been dealt with. I wish I could be more concrete on that with you, but like I said, this news just crossed my desk. So, so we'll get to that point. I have a new $500 grant that we found that is going to be helping certain people who have SNAP. We still have a lot to talk about today. So I do apologize for the back and forth that we've had for the last 2 weeks. I know it sucks. And I hate bringing you news and then immediately having it invalidated. So at least we found out about this one while we were on the video and not right after it aired. Okay, so with that long rambling introduction out of the way, let's dive in and talk about what's been going on. So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about when we say the back and forth, I have just a real quick recap for you. So Congress didn't pass the appropriation bills, the government shut down, the USDA said there would be no SNAP. Then lawsuits were filed. Both of the judges, there were 2 cases, and both of the judges said that the contingency funds needed to be used to fund SNAP. The judge in the Rhode Island case was a lot more specific and a lot more bossy, and he said that the administration should fully fund SNAP unless they had a good reason not to. And this was in the hearing that happened a while back. And he said that their reason couldn't be arbitrary or capricious. He set deadlines, saying that a full payment should have been sent out last Monday and a partial payment would be due on Wednesday. Now, they were given until last Monday to say what they were going to do. On Monday, the USDA filed a response saying that they would drain the SNAP contingency fund to provide partial SNAP payments, but they refused to use the Section 32 funds to make up the difference. Now, this is where things got really complicated because there's two separate contingency funds at play here. The one that's set aside for SNAP and the one that's set aside for Section 32, which is for child nutrition programs and other things. Now, that all happened on Monday. And then if you've been following our lives every day, you know that on Tuesday morning, President Trump went on Truth Social and said that SNAP benefits would not be paid until the government reopened. Many sources interpreted that as an intent to defy the court order, even though they had already agreed to follow it. Now, later on Tuesday, Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt said that the social media post was talking about future SNAP payments and said that the administration was, quote, fully complying with the court order. Also on Tuesday, the USDA sent states guidance on how to calculate the benefits, saying that everything would be reduced to a 50% of maximum benefit cap. Now, that was Tuesday. On Wednesday, I think this may have happened on Tuesday night, but the plaintiffs went back to court to try to force the government to pay the full amount of SNAP benefits. Because when the USDA sent out that guidance, it was ridiculously complicated and very clear that it was going to take a long time for states to be able to process those partial payments and actually get that money to you. So the plaintiffs went back to court, said this isn't going to work, we need them to issue the full payment, and that hearing was set for today. Now, on Wednesday, the USDA issued a correction, and I thought this was really interesting. They said when they filed this that it was not in reaction to the plaintiffs going back to court to try to force the full payment. But what they said, and because I don't have it in my slide deck, I'm just going to tab over here so you can see the USDA website. What they said was basically that they had made a mistake in their math. And they sent this letter out to the states. And it says, the Food and Nutrition Service is revising its November 4th memorandum. The maximum allotments are being reduced by 35% instead of 50%, so that the maximum allotments for November 2025 will be 65% of the typical maximum allotments. This memorandum only replaces the amount of the reduction and does not replace any of the additional information contained in the memorandum issued on November 4th. Now, I find the wording of this very careful, and I don't want to freak anybody out, right? Like, this channel is not here to fearmonger you. We do not like to make people afraid unnecessarily. In my reading of that original November 4th memo, it sounded like there was going to be some creative math employed that a lot of other, I haven't seen anyone else reporting on it. But the way they phrased it invoked this certain clause about how the SNAP equation works. And because I do so much reporting on how the SNAP equation works, it caught my attention. Now, we covered that in a great amount of depth in the video where we talked about it being reduced by half. And I don't have that chart in front of me because when the ruling came out, I erased all those slides. But if you want me to go over that math with you later, just remind me in the Q&A. It's a little bit complicated, so I'm okay getting into that later, but I'm not going to do it right now. Along with this memo that they sent out to the states, they also sent this revised maximum chart. Now, this chart is what they're saying the new maximum amounts are. So remember, they're adjusting it. It was going to be half. Now it's going to be, what did they say, 65%? I just read it to you, but I got distracted. Yeah, 65%. So this is the most that you would be getting in November under their partial payment. Now, remember, like I said, the USDA already sent all this guidance to the states. I don't think the appeal they're filing on the judge's orders from today is going to affect this, but I genuinely don't know. That information, as far as I can tell, hasn't been released yet. I can come over here and check my ticker really quick and see if anything else has been said. I don't see anything saying that this is going to affect the partial payments. But if I find that out, even if it happens while I'm live with you, I'll be sure to let you know. So as of right now, considering the appeal that was just filed, these should be the maximum benefits. Now, again, this is how much you're going to be getting if you already got the maximum, right? If you get less than the maximum, that's going to be adjusted. I don't know if any of you are in Guam, so I don't know if that chart is interesting to you, or the Virgin Islands. If you're in Hawaii, this is the table. If you're in Alaska, this is the table for that. Now, I do want you to know that under this partial funding plan, nobody is going to be getting less than the minimum. So this adjustment from 50% to 65% does change that minimum from $12 to $16, which is better than $12, but I know it's not nearly enough. And I was so excited when the judge ruled that they were going to have to send out those full benefits. I am just devastated by that appeal, as I'm sure you are. So with that, let's jump back over to the slide deck. I'm sorry this is so complicated, guys. I do apologize. If I had seen that, if the news had come out about the appeal sooner, I would have had this better organized for you, but we're kind of all learning this together, unfortunately. Okay, so what happened in court today is that Judge John J. McConnell Jr. of the U.S. District Court for the District of Rhode Island ordered the government to fully fund November SNAP benefits. The New York Times reported that the judge read the order from the bench after a, quote, short but tense hearing, where he basically, he said a lot of things, but the Times reported that he attributed the delay in part to an attempt by President Trump and his aides to disrupt the program for political reasons. And that Truth Social post that we already talked about was also brought up in court. And the judge said, quote, in fact, the day before the compliance was ordered, the president stated his intent to defy the court order when he said that SNAP payments would only be given after the government opens. So that was also a factor in the decision. Now, like I said, local officials had complained because they said that the partial payment plan was just punitive and needlessly complex and too difficult to implement. And so that's what happened. The USDA said that it can't be arbitrary and capricious for them to decline to use the other contingency plan, because that's not what it was for. And if you're interested in the details on some of these slides that I'm going to move past fairly quickly, you're always welcome to pause or go back to them. But given the appeal, I don't want to spend a ton of time on all of this. But basically, the fight comes down to the use of those Section 32 funds. You know, the government said that they couldn't use those funds without putting child nutrition programs at risk. But the plaintiff's attorneys pointed out that there's plenty of funding in there to keep those programs going through June. And I really liked this quote from Kristen Bateman, who was an attorney for the plaintiffs. She said, they have not explained why they would choose to let 42 million Americans, including 16 million children, go hungry now in order to guard against the extreme outside chance that come June, there won't be enough money to fund child nutrition programs, end quote. I thought that was a really interesting quote. Yeah. And then the judge also said, to be clear, irreparable harm means harm to families, elderly children, and others that cannot be undone, and that there's evidence that that needless suffering will be occurring. And that's why I'm trying to figure out like how much of this is still relevant to share with you, because this was prepared before the appeal was announced. Yeah, basically he said that they hadn't followed the previous order, and that's why it came to that. Now, I guess this one isn't relevant either, because we know that that appeal is being filed. So ultimately, because there's going to be an appeal on this, it's not going to have the impact we had hoped for. I was impressed to see that they were able to get these hearings done so quickly after the case was originally filed, because they were seeking that emergency relief. Hopefully the appeal will be handled as quickly And hopefully it won't be a lot of time before we're able to see results come from that. And of course, if the government were to reopen before that appeal was resolved, then we would have hope in that as well. I do know that I saw that they have another vote scheduled in Congress tomorrow, and they're going to be talking about some different things, and hopefully we'll see some action taken to get everything reopened at that point. In the meantime, we also know that a lot of states are creating their own emergency programs as kind of a stopgap measure to tide people over in their states. Unfortunately, this is not something that's available in all states. It's just available in some of them. And we've been keeping all of that reporting up to date. I just updated that list again today, and we can go over that as well if you would like me to address what we know about each individual state. I know it's been confusing. I'm going to pop over here because I just saw this pop up. Feel Good is saying, we were told here in Pennsylvania that we'll receive zero until the government is reopened. That's not an uncommon thing to have heard because this news is changing by the day, sometimes multiple times a day, like we've seen today. So it's really hard to stay current on what the current status of these programs is. So as of right now, we know they're appealing the order to issue the full benefits. We know they've already sent guidance on the partial payments, which should provide up to 65% of the full benefit. And then we know that states are doing different things. But it's becoming more and more complicated too, because after the news that the federal government was going to step in and issue those partial payments, Louisiana went and took EBT back off of cards because they had put state funds on EBT cards, and then the federal government said they were going to do it, and so they took that money back, and it caused a lot of confusion there as well. So if you have received state level help recently, just be careful and pay attention to that, and we'll do our best to stay current on what's going on as well. All right, yeah, I put on here that the federal government could appeal. I didn't realize they were going to do it so very quickly. A little bit more good news before we jump into the Q&A and talk about all the other things. WIC is fully funded. They did use those contingency funds to fully fund WIC, and that money should be going to the states. It may already be with the states for being sent out now. And then we also know that One Fair Wage has stepped up with a SNAP emergency fund as well that is offering up to $500 to help eligible workers. You have to be either a service worker or an incarcerated worker who is struggling to make ends meet, and you can apply with One Fair Wage. It is a little bit complicated, so I'm going to pop over here and show you really quickly because their site looks like it's a little bit broken. So when you go to their page about the grant, this is their page for the grant, and you go down here and you click Apply Now, that page is broken for some reason. But if you go down into the red, there's another Apply for Help button there, and that opens up the form. So I wanted to show you guys how that works so that if any of you go over there and you get frustrated or you think that it's not active, you're able to figure out how to apply for that. Okay, now I think that brings us to the end of our presentation. Let's see. Yeah, so we're still giving away this journal over at Hope. That's another channel that we run. If you want to grab that, I should have updated that link. Kaylee, if you can drop it, lirlinks.com/hope. Will go right to the opt-in form for the journal because a lot of people have gone to hope.help and then they didn't get opted in for the journal. So if you did sign up at this link and you didn't get the journal, just email us. One of our team members will make sure that you get that. Otherwise, go to the link that Kaylee's dropping in the chat right now. We're glad to have her back with us today after her dental appointment yesterday. Oh my goodness, Kenneth, thank you. That is wonderful. We really appreciate that. Any news on the government reopening? So we do know that another vote is scheduled for tomorrow, and from what I read, it looks like there's a little bit of compromise starting to happen finally. So everyone seemed kind of optimistic that maybe something will be reached tomorrow, but as of right now, the government is still shut down, unfortunately, but hopefully it will resolve tomorrow. Yeah, all right, and then yeah, and as always, Chapter is available to help you if you have Medicare questions as well. They're really great at that. Now we're going to go ahead and jump in. Yeah, okay. MJ is saying y'all are asking about state by state. See, this is another example of things being out of date so quickly. The Justice Department has already said that they are going to appeal that ruling. So that funding is not going to be sent to states tomorrow, unfortunately. They are intending to appeal that, and because of the appeal, it's going to drag that out longer than we had hoped. When I started preparing this presentation, I believed that what you were saying was true, but then right after we clicked the live button, I saw the update about the appeal. So that's why we're having this big, complicated conversation today, because that definitely caught me off guard. So hopefully that makes sense. I know that, yeah, actually here, let me see if I can update this really quickly. Hang on. Oh my gosh, Jazzy Soul, that is very generous. Thank you so much for that. We never expect these super chats. I hope you guys know that, and I hope you guys don't ever feel any pressure for that, but thank you very much. It does definitely help. All right, I'm going to update our ticker really quick. Let's see. There we go. Now anybody who joins in can see that information in the blue bar at the bottom as well, hopefully. So hopefully that'll clear up any of those questions as we're talking now that we're done with the presentation. So, oh, thank you, Starlight. I appreciate that. I'm glad it was easy for you to get the journal. I hope that that's helpful to you. I found that one in particular super helpful for me. We have a whole bunch of those that we've put together, and that one is my favorite one. So I'm glad that you got it. Okay. Let's see. I can see Kaylee's in the chat answering questions as well, and I think Stephanie is with us too, because I saw a link come in that I don't think Kayla had. So, okay. Do you got anything for me to answer, sis? Or are you pulling links?
For the Hope channel.
Oh, okay. She's busy pulling links. We're trying to figure out how to coordinate all of this together.
I've already answered
So,
almost all the questions.
well, you have to highlight them so that I can answer them too, darling. You can't just do it all in there, because if you do it there, then the people who watch it later don't get to see the help. So if we answer it in the chat and we answer it on video, then we get to help more people. On the job training live. Sorry about that, guys. She's only been doing this for about a week, but I tell you, during our live stream yesterday when she wasn't here, I definitely felt that, and it was a lot harder to coordinate. Is it true that employed SNAP recipients aren't getting funded? So I think a lot of that news is coming from the different way that states are handling things, right? We're getting so much conflicting news all at once. I did see that some states, with their state stopgap measures, were going to be targeting families with children or the elderly or people with disabilities, or trying to reach certain groups of people, but not necessarily everyone, because the state budgets were limited. I am not aware of any changes that would affect that at the federal level right now. The advice that we saw come out from USDA was pretty specific in that people who got SNAP were going to get 65% of those benefits as of the update that they issued Wednesday. So I don't think that that's an issue right now at the federal level. I do know that, they're instituting work requirements and they're trying to make it harder to get SNAP if you're working. But for now, I think that issue is coming up at the state level. So I'm going to go ahead and just take this opportunity really quick to show you our state list, because I think that will help as well. So you guys know, if you've been here, we've been updating this list daily as things have been changing, because it's just easier and faster for us to update the website than it is to pop out a video every single time something changes, especially for the state specific changes, right? So you can see our article here is we need to update it about the appeal, because that happened after we started the video. So I haven't been on the website since then, obviously. But as far as what states are doing, we know that Cherokee Nation is sending up to $185 in SNAP payments for November for all Cherokee Nation citizens, regardless of where they live nationwide. The amount can be reduced depending on what local, state, or federal governments are paying, and you need to apply on the Gadoogie portal by November 14th if you want to claim that relief. So that's not an automatic thing. You do have to go into the portal for that if you're a Cherokee Nation member. Now, in Alabama, the Birmingham City Council has voted to provide one-time assistance. I think there's a typo there, but it was going to be up to $100 to individuals or up to $200 for families. Alaska has said that they are going to dedicate $5 million to replacing SNAP benefits on a weekly schedule. But from what I read, it looks like the monthly cost of SNAP in Alaska is like $24 million. So I don't think that's going to be a full replacement. And when they do it on a weekly schedule, they divide how much they're going to send into 4 payments, and they send one a week. And the reason so many states are taking that approach is because they're hoping that the federal government is going to open up and send those full benefits to you at some point in the month, so that they don't have to send all of that money out of their state coffers, because most of them can't really afford it. Or if they can afford it, it's going to hurt, right? It's going to take money away from other programs. So they're kind of doing that weekly taper to get the help out there without committing necessarily more than they think they're going to have to. Now in Arizona, they are creating a program called Food Bucks Now. And as far as I can tell, this is operational right now today. And if you're in Arizona, you should be able to go use this. It is a little bit complicated. They're running it through their Double Up program. So you have to go to one of their Double Up Arizona network locations, and you can get a $30 voucher to purchase SNAP eligible foods at participating grocery stores. It looks like you can also get a $10 Double Up voucher as well for fruits and veggie purchases for a max value of $40. And it looks like that may even be open to repeat use based on what I read. Somewhere on the site it did say a day. So, but they also said there wouldn't be enough vouchers to go around. So proceed with caution with that one. If you're going to use it, I would recommend that you go use that sooner rather than later, because they are anticipating that the funding for that will run out sometime in the month. Now, in the state of California, there isn't a single one-state solution. Every city and county is kind of doing its own thing. So in San Francisco, they're sending prepaid gift cards to cover SNAP benefit amounts. And the amount is going to be equal to the average for your household size. So it may be different than what you're used to. It could be more, it could be less. That's just the easiest way they could do that. They're saying that these prepaid cards are going to operate the same way an EBT card does in terms of what you can and can't buy. And those are supposed to start arriving for you on the 12th. In Contra Costa County, they're going to be distributing cards from their Employment and Human Services Department buildings. There's 4 of those. You have to pick them up on weekdays between certain hours. And the initial balance is going to be 50%, and then they're going to have a weekly deposit on there as well. Marin County is doing something, but we don't know what yet. Delaware is sending out benefits once a week. Hawaii said that they're going to send $250 in emergency relief to every SNAP recipient. Maryland is, sorry guys, I know state by state stuff is kind of boring. I'm trying to go quicker. Maryland is sending out money. It looks like it's being managed through their Maryland Market Money Benefit Bridge program, which is the same as kind of like a Double Up Food Bucks program. They are letting you get up to $20 per household per day if you have a declined SNAP transaction at one of their 50 food access points. So you have to go to our website, click on this blue link to get to the Maryland Market Bridge program. Make sure you're shopping at one of the approved stores, and you can get up to $20 per household per day while that funding is available. In New Mexico, they are sending out 30% of what you'd normally receive, and those funds should be available to you already. Virginia is doing this program they're calling Virginia Emergency Nutrition Assistance. That's going to send you 25% of your usual benefits on a weekly basis. The day of the week you get it on will depend on the date of your usual deposit. And Louisiana did a thing, and it was great, but then when the federal government decided to help, they decided to take their state money back, and that's messing up a lot of people who had money and now they don't. So do be aware of that if you're in the state of Louisiana. And then Vermont also has an emergency program where they're trying to provide temporary benefits through November 15th. And then we have all these other states that are donating to food banks and, sending extra in TANF and all of that stuff. And you can find all of that information on our website. So anyone who has a state-specific question, hopefully this answers it, because this is all the state-by-state information I know at this time. So going forward, for those of you who are helping moderate comments, if it was a state-by-state one, they should go back to that segment. And if you note the timestamp, you can just say it was at about the 25-minute mark. Okay? All right, more on the job training. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and highlight this one really quick. Lauren says that they didn't understand what I meant. So just to make sure that I have the right one, I believe that's the one where you have to go to the county, right? Yeah. Okay. So where'd my comment go? There it is. Okay. So in Contra Costa County, I hope I'm saying that right. I might not be. You have to go to the Employment and Human Services Department building. There's 4 of them in your county. You need to find that building. You have to go there between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. on a weekday. Okay? You just walk in and you go pick up the food assistance card. They're going on prepaid debit cards. To my understanding, they're supposed to be available now. If you want more information about the original source where I got this, you can go to our website and click on this blue link over here. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm pointing to. This blue link right here will take you to the original source where I got this information so that if they update it, you can see whatever updates they have. But to my understanding, those cards are available now. You have to go pick it up, and it will have 50% of the funding on it now, and then every week they're going to add an extra 25% unless the government reopens. Hopefully that makes more sense. I know I was moving kind of fast because I know not all these state-specific updates apply to everyone, and I try not to bore you guys. Doing the best I can over here, always open to feedback. I think we're all learning a lot about this together, so hopefully that helped you. Okay. Anything? Looks like you have a technical glitch on your... Yeah, we've been under a troll attack for the last couple of weeks. So, all right. So CU says, are we going to get SNAP for December? We don't know yet. That's going to depend on what Congress does in terms of reopening the government. So as of this week, we learned that the USDA said they were going to fully drain the SNAP contingency fund to send partial benefits. I believe that to still be in effect despite the appeal on the order to send full benefits. But if they do that, then the SNAP contingency fund is empty, and the only thing left is those Section 32 contingency funds that the federal government is saying they won't use. So I would say the answer to this question is going to depend strongly on the outcome of the appeals and the way this lawsuit progresses, and or what Congress does in taking steps to reopen the government. If the government doesn't reopen, I would imagine it will be at the very least delayed, if not unavailable. So hopefully, it sounds like there's some promising stuff going on. I'm really hoping that we'll get good news tomorrow. But there's just no way for anybody to know the answer to that right now, and I'm so sorry. I know that is like the most stressful answer out there because uncertainty is like the worst, right? And I'm sorry. Okay. Does SNAP funds up to 65% for November being affected by the new rules that went into effect on November 2? Work requirements? Yes. Honestly, yeah. I haven't seen anything to say that it wouldn't, and this has been something that's been on my mind as well. I try not to stray too far from like the cold hard facts of what we know, right? But it does seem interesting to me that in the month where all those work requirements are changing and now able-bodied adults without dependents get 3 months of SNAP before they're cut off, suddenly nobody is getting the full amount of SNAP, because it would seem to me that that partial month is going to count against that 3-month requirement. I haven't seen any sort of clarification on that from the USDA. So to my best knowledge, that's what's going on. Now, the hope is that when Congress does get their act together and we get the government reopened, that there will be retroactive coverage and that that full allotment will be available. But all of that is conjecture. So yeah, I do think that November is included in that 3 months. I hope, I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. For GoPuff, $25 code and free delivery. If we don't have money left on the EBT card, can we still use the code and just buy things? Yes, that was the point. I didn't see anything indicating that any purchase was required. We heard feedback on other streams from people who were able to use it. And I think someone said they paid like 5 cents for a bag fee or something like that, which sounds like it's probably due to a state tax or something. But yeah, if you don't have any money left on your EBT card, absolutely go use that code. That's what they created it for, was to help those of you who don't have money coming. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. People need to know about the Nation Benefits Program. Okay, what are we talking about in terms of Nation Benefits? Because we talk about a lot of national benefits on here, so I'm going to need to...
Nation Benefits $200 card.
Okay, yep. All right, I'm doing a quick search here to figure out. I think I know what we're talking about, but I want to be sure. Yep, okay, we're good. So it sounds like Nation Benefits is an insurance plan that has over-the-counter benefits that can give you money toward different things. This is a common feature of various Medicare Advantage plans, and I know a lot of people demonize Medicare Advantage. I know people have strong feelings about it. When it comes to all things Medicare, these are the guys I trust over here. Chapter knows everything there is to know about Medicare. They're the ones I go to with all of my questions, and they are fully committed to helping you find the best plan for you, even if it's not one that they offer. So they said that they're helping people save over like $1,000 on average, but they can also help you navigate those plans so that you can figure out like how to get the best possible benefits without sacrificing your healthcare coverage. Because I know sometimes there are concerns, and I've had concerns in the past where we've seen plans with really flashy bells and whistles, and then your prescriptions cost more or there's a catch. So I love those over-the-counter benefits. I know that many of you are relying on them hard right now. We've seen lots of comments in the last few weeks from people who are getting $200 a month or more to help with groceries or utilities or over-the-counter needs or different things, and those aren't impacted by the shutdown, so that's fabulous. But if you're interested in exploring what those options look like for you, I can't promise that any particular thing is going to be available in any particular area, but what I can tell you is if it is available, these guys are going to know about it. So I would give them a call at the number that you see over there. So, okay. Hopefully that helps. All right. Let's see. I know something about the work waiver still being valid until they expire was mentioned on one of the last lives. Do you know if that is true? Yes. Sorry, it took me a minute to catch up on what we were talking about because we have talked about so many things in the last couple of weeks, and I kind of feel like my brain is exploding, which is probably why I'm getting migraines every day. But yes. So as part of the order that was issued in the Rhode Island case on Saturday when he issued the written order, yes. It included something in there about saying that they can't take state work waivers away until they expire, because that was something that was attempted in New York. New York had a waiver from the work requirements. The federal government came in and said, you don't really need that anymore. And they were going to cancel that. And it looked like the judge in Rhode Island also said no to that kind of action. So if your state currently has a work waiver, it looks like that should be valid until the day that it was supposed to expire, and that it can't be removed prematurely. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. Watching this eating lasagna love. Yay! Oh, Andrea, that's great. I'm so happy to hear that. That is wonderful. I'm so glad you were able to get that kind of help. That just makes me so happy. That's just awesome. All right. Gary says Arkansas is donating $500,000 to food banks. A lot of states are choosing to donate to food banks right now, which is great because they're going to need that help, right? The unfortunate thing is that not everybody can get to a food bank, and the amount of money that's being donated is so much less than the amount of SNAP benefits that are usually available that it's still going to be hard. But I'm glad to see that states are taking that step to do that. Let's see. I just did my SNAP recertification in October with no mention of work requirements in November. Yeah, so I can actually pull this up for you. Well, maybe I should have made sure of that before I promised that. Give me just a second. It should only take me like 3 clicks to get to that page, but they keep moving things around for me on the USDA website. And of course, now that I said that, I'm having a hard time finding the thing. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I have dual screens so that I can have my tickers up while I'm talking to you guys. So I just need to really quickly find the thing. Wow, they have issued so much guidance in the last couple of weeks. This is ridiculous. Okay. I guess I can't pull it up, but I did see something about those work waivers on there, and we can do another video going into what those work requirements look like. If you guys would like me to cover that in greater depth tomorrow, I can have all the charts and graphs and press releases and nonsense that they have about that. So, okay. Andrea says, go Puff after first use of free $25. They sent you a $5 coupon as well so that you can use it on the second free to make 30. That is awesome. I had no idea they were going to do that. That is so cool. Thank you for sharing that. I just love how many people are stepping up to do good things, even though hard stuff is going on. Oh, thank you, Mama. I appreciate that tip. I've never tried that, but that's interesting. Question is Connecticut. I'm getting bedridden. I don't think Connecticut was in the state-by-state guide we just went over, but I will make a special note to go search for that specifically. So at least once or twice a day, our team is going through all of the news from basically everywhere, trying to figure out what states are doing. I haven't seen Connecticut come up on the radar yet, but I will go look for that specifically a little bit later today. So it's in my notes. Raven Wolf says they need to just stop the theatrics and give us our food stamps, and you're not wrong. The constant back and forth and just emotional whiplash from these updates as it goes from good news to bad news to good news to bad news, back and forth. I mean, it's really not healthy. And I am so sorry. Like, I hate that for all of us. Lisa Greengrass says, I heard the courts ordered the president to give the full amount of SNAP. And yes, they did, Lisa. But then the Justice Department pretty much immediately said they were going to appeal that order because they don't want to do it. So the courts definitely did that, and that was great. But we don't know how long that's going to take or how that appeal is going to shake out. So I should go back over here and check my ticker because I'm looking to see if there's going to be more news dropping about it. But as of right now, the last update that I saw said that they were going to appeal that. So not good. All right. Let's see. Did you have another one?
It glitched.
Oh no! Kaylee just had a technical issue that wiped the entire chat off of her screen.
Wait,
so
it's back.
we're going to have to
But
just
it's
take a
not.
minute here to see if we can catch up on questions. Let's see.
Okay, I have a bunch of questions that are in between when it glitched and
Okay, well, if you can't highlight it, you can just read it off to me and then I can see if we can get it answered. Or you can send it to me in our chat.
So is the Medicaid pot separate from the food stamp pot under USDA?
Yes. Here, why don't you copy and paste them into our moderation chat and then I can grab them from there. How's that? All right, we're working on some workarounds to deal with Kaylee's technical glitch, so I do apologize for that. Okay, it looks like someone asked, and I can't highlight it, but it looks like someone asked, is the Medicaid pot separate from the food stamp pot under USDA? Yes, the budgets for those are separate. Medicaid is actually administered by the Department of Health and Human Services, and it's part of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. So that is completely separate from the budget that's used for the USDA's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. So those things are disconnected in the budget. Medicaid has enough funding for the full fiscal quarter that we are in. Everything I've read says that it should be fine until at least December 31st and possibly beyond, but that's kind of the cutoff date that I've seen in the reporting that I've reviewed. So those budgets are definitely different. Did you have anything else that you were going to pop over into that chat? Okay. Looks like Kayla's a little bit caught up with comment moderation duty, trying to keep trolls out of the thing. Okay, so Empath Doll says, I just got notification of receiving $12 for November. What a joke. So yes, with the reduction, they had originally said that they were going to do a partial funding, and that was going to drop the minimum that you could receive to $12. Now, we do know from the revised guidance, sorry, that's my search from a second ago. Let's come over here. We know from the revised guidance that they sent out yesterday on the 5th that the new minimum is actually going to be $16. So I realize that the difference between $12 and $16 is negligible and it's still disappointing. But there should at least be a little bit of a bump coming on that, and you should at least get that $16, hopefully. So, all right. Oh, thank you, G. Giblet. I appreciate that. Little comments like this help so much. I tell you, I still get so nervous on camera. So I appreciate those of you who stick with me and are patient. And I hope I'm saying this right. Jaliacy became a channel member. That is wonderful. Thank you so much for that. So for those of you who don't know, we do have channel memberships. They start at $1. I never expect anybody to sign up for them. I know you guys are here to get help, and we never expect that. But Stephanie puts a lot of work into making sure there's really helpful content in there, printables and discounts and different things. So lots of good stuff in the channel membership too. So, okay, let's see. All right, did you have anything else, darling? I'm very confused. I checked the HRA website and it says I'm getting the full amount on the day I'm supposed to get them. That is interesting. I will, I will follow up with that and see what we can figure out, because it's possible that New York is doing something there, but I'm not familiar with what that is. So I will, I'll dive in and see what I can find out for you. All right. Will the SNAP, oh, okay, it was there and then it disappeared. Will the SNAP program end someday? I'm worried someone just said that. So I don't think so. It has pretty broad congressional support. The issue is they're just not agreeing on anything else to get it reopened. Nobody knows what the future holds. And I wish that we did. You know, this whole situation would be so much easier if we had a crystal ball and we could look into the future and know that, you know, in a week or in a month that everything was going to be okay. I know that uncertainty is like the worst, right? I prefer bad news to uncertainty because I think the uncertainty is just, it's so hard. I hate that I can't make you any concrete promises. I don't think it's going to end. I think it's got pretty strong congressional support. I think that for any elected official, it wouldn't be good for their career to suggest ending it. 42 million people rely on that program. That's a lot of voters. So I think the facts are in our favor as far as keeping the program running. But I never, as a person who's been running low income relief for over a decade, I never thought we'd get to the point where we were using hungry people as pawns on a chessboard for politics. So I don't know, and I wish that I had better answers for you. Yeah. Breathe in and out, you're doing great. Thank you. I appreciate that, Barbie. You are wonderful. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Diane. That's wonderful. I appreciate that too. You guys are awesome. You guys are so good. I love being here with you guys. I know we really struggled doing live chats for the majority of the years that I've been here on YouTube just because of my own anxieties with the camera, but doing this with you guys almost every day for like 2 weeks now has honestly been a delight. I love talking to you guys. I love having these conversations and seeing the way that you guys support each other in the comments. Like, that's amazing, right? You guys are the best community. All right, Sylvia says, is Arizona doing full or half? Now, if I jump back, if you jump back in the video, I think the timestamp is around like the 25-minute mark. At least that's what I'm seeing here internally in my streaming tool. We went over this article. Oh, there's my search. Okay. We went over this article on our website where we were talking about what all the different states are doing. Arizona is doing a voucher through their Double Up program. So it's a little bit complicated. You have to go to a Double Up location. If you go to this link here, it's on Double Up Arizona. you should be able to get more information about how that program is working and where you can use that. So for most of the state-specific questions, I am going to refer you guys back to this post because it has everything I know. We're really good about updating the website as soon as we learn new things. So yeah, anyway, I hope that's helpful. All right. What else do we got? Amanda says, are we going to get a letter about the work requirements if we're required to? I'm on disability. So here's the thing. If you have Social Security disability, you're not going to be subjected to those work requirements. It's for able-bodied adults without dependents, and they've said that if you have a disability, it's not going to apply to you. The easiest way to make sure that you're able to get that exemption is to have Social Security, because that means you've already proved to the government that you're too disabled to work. So I think you're probably going to be fine. I would imagine those who are affected are going to get a letter. They're required to send a letter. And that letter usually serves as the beginning of that 3-month window before those benefits are at risk. So I think you're probably okay, Amanda. For everyone else, I think you'll get that letter when it becomes an issue for you. I know I saw that the administration had started telling the states to enforce it in the month of November, but yeah. But I mean, let's be real, everybody's a frantic mess right now because of the shutdown. Everything's in chaos. So it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of those notices and different things were going to be delayed just because of the sheer amount of paperwork and chaos in the system right now. That actually sounds a lot like my life, paperwork and chaos. Am I wrong? My daughter's laughing at me now. That sounds really relatable to me. Paperwork and chaos. Okay. Sorry, not to make light of that situation at all. It just struck me as a funny thing I just said. Okay. Spencer says the Nation Benefits Program is a $200 food card through the insurance, and it's helping. Yeah, I have heard such great things about those grocery cards. And again, if you've got Medicare, Chapter knows all the options for all the different plans and what they offer. So I would recommend you go over there if you're interested in those kinds of things. Okay, let's see. What else do we got? Anything?
Tip.
Check your state's website to see if they still have a work waiver that's valid. Yes, that is great advice. A lot of states have those waivers. They're going to be harder to get going forward, but so far they're protected from being removed prematurely. So that is excellent advice. Yeah, okay, so I want to mention really quickly. Oh, my chat just jumped. Did it just expire? Darn it. There's a limit, I guess, to how many comments my streaming tool can hold. So when people get chatty, sometimes things bounce off the screen before I can catch them.
What do you think background is on YouTube?
Oh, it's okay. I am at, well, don't worry about it, honey. We don't need to be that precise. I saw somebody say that they still got charged a delivery fee on GoPuff, and I'm wondering if the coupon code was wrong. It's Snap Relief with the number 1 on it for right now. And then in 10 days, it'll change to Snap Relief 2. So, oh, that answers that question too. Yeah, if somebody could copy that into the chat, it's Snap Relief, all caps, number 1 for right now. And then in 10 days, it's Snap Relief, all caps, with the number 2 for the rest of the month. So, yeah. And Amanda's clarifying that those that are seeing the bag fee, it's a state charge, which is what I thought too. I've traveled to states where they have bag fees. And then, so yeah, I've seen that happen. Oh my goodness, my chat jumped again. I hate it when my technology goes on the fritz. It makes everything harder. Hopefully you guys can still see me okay. Why are only some states complying? Complying with what would be my question right there, because I don't know which thing we're talking about, because we've talked about work waivers and all sorts of other things. So I'm going to need some clarification before I can answer that better. Oh, cool. Wilma says, Chapter helped me. I now can get my dentures for $0. That's amazing. That makes me so happy because I've had so many people ask us about how to get dentures and stuff like that. So that is fantastic to know that that is a resource. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Okay, yeah. So Lisa typed in the code. It's that's the one for the November 15th through the 30th. It's Snap Relief 2. The one for right now is the same. It's just the number 1 instead of the number 2 there. Oh, and of course, here we go. I must be far back on the chat because you guys are already on this. You guys are so awesome. Hey Nicole, I just found a Sunbucks card oh no, from over a year ago. Yeah, oh, that sucks. So they have decided to put a different deadline on the Sunbucks cards than on regular EBT. So normally if you get SNAP benefits, those benefits are going to be fine for 274 days. And then if you still have a balance, they're going to be removed. I believe the limit for the Sunbucks cards the last time I checked was 120 days or 4 months. So that one has probably already had all of the balance removed. That being said, personally, if it was me, I would check the balance anyway, just to be like extra sure. But that's probably my anxiety talking. So I am so sorry that you missed that, though. That is such a bummer. Oh, that would have been really helpful right now. All right. I don't understand. How are they going to fund it without the government reopening? Yeah, so the courts announced that, or ruled that the contingency fund for SNAP, which is there in case of emergencies, should be used because the shutdown constitutes an emergency, is what they said in their ruling. And we went over all of the court's logic in this and the things that they said in our coverage of that when it happened. And that was for the previous ruling, which was announced over the bench, I believe, last Friday. And then it was issued in a written format on Saturday. So we talked about that, I think, Friday. I don't know if we talked about it Saturday. I think we did Medicaid on Saturday, but then I think we talked about it again on Monday. So you can go back and look at those videos for other clarification. The other fund, and that's why it's partial, because the other fund, the Section 32 fund, they're saying is for child nutrition programs. And that's where the fight was at today, is that the plaintiffs and the judge both said that that funding should be used, and the USDA said it shouldn't, and all sorts of other things. How old do you have to be to get chapter benefits? I'm 60. So chapter is not a benefit in and of itself. Chapter is an advisory service that helps people choose the best Medicare plan for them. So you should get Medicare when you're 65 or 2 years after you get Social Security disability insurance, whichever comes first. And as soon as you have that Medicare coverage, Chapter is our go-to source for helping you choose a plan, because there's over 20,000 Medicare plans out there. And personally, that seems insane to me. Like, that's a lot of data to track, especially considering that it varies based on where you live and which provider you choose. And the plans change every year anyway, and it's insane. But they have systems in place that track all of that. They can help you figure out what's available in your area, what plans will cover the doctors you actually want to see and the medications that you take. They can run the numbers to tell you what your costs would be. They just have an awesome service built around all things Medicare. And that's why we recommend Chapter. But Chapter itself isn't a benefit necessarily. It's just help getting great Medicare. So hopefully that makes sense. I know all of this can be super confusing. Can Chapter help with Medicare dual plan? Yes. They can help you with a dual plan. They are saving people over, I think it's $1,100 on average. And when they specifically reached out to me, and we've been talking a lot about dual coverage and how we hear from a lot of people on this channel that are low income and they're getting help from other programs, but they're still losing money to their Medicare, their premiums and their other costs. And that just shouldn't be in a lot of cases. So they can help you figure out how, what your options are, what you might qualify for, and how to help you save them, the most possible money for your situation, I should say. So hopefully that helps. SSDI can be a pain to get, but it's worth it. Got to go to a hearing to get mine after multiple denials, but whatever it takes. Yeah, Karen. Yeah. So statistically, I saw, I've helped family members and things with different forms of disability claims with, SSI or SSDI and VA and all of that stuff over the years, because obviously this is what I do. And I'm not an attorney or anything, but I've dealt with the paperwork and I've loved people through the process. And I remember seeing a statistic a while ago that said something like 65% of Social Security disability claims are denied on the first filing. And a lot of people just give up there and they quit fighting and they don't keep going, and so they don't get it. But if you appeal, you increase your chances. And even if you have to appeal multiple times, it is absolutely worth that fight. I know it can be hard to do on your own, so we do partner with someone who can give you a free case review and can help you through that process. I believe they take a fee if you win your case. In my estimation, that's worth it because it means you won your case. If you're interested in working with our partner in that, you'd find that the link is lirlinks.com/claims. If you want to type that in there, that would be claims is plural, I believe. I'm telling Kaylee so she can drop it in the chat for you. Okay, does SNAP have different disability rules versus state disability? I mean, all the programs set things kind of specifically, and because there's so much variance in what the states do, I don't know if I want to rule on that necessarily because I don't know which state we're talking about. So it is possible. We can go over that in another video if you would like. If you want to send us an email and let us know what state you're in, we can kind of do a comparison and see what we can find out for you there. Hopefully that helps. Some things I'm uneasy answering on the live just because I want to make sure I have all of the facts for you. So, yeah, okay, super. Oh, thank you, Phil. That is wonderful. I really appreciate that. Thank you. That's awesome. Okay. I really appreciate you guys. Lady Justice is saying, I'm not a troll, I'm a supporter. I don't know what conversation led to this, but I do want you guys to know that if you ever do get like a timeout in the comments or you're unable to comment for an extended period of time, you're welcome to email us and we can see what we can troubleshoot. I know we've been inundated by trolls lately, so we've got multiple people in there doing the best we can to try to keep things under control because we want this to be a safe space for you guys. We don't want you to be battling bullies in the comments of our videos. That would be terrible. So we may overcorrect in some cases, but you can always email us and we can sort things out later if we need to. So, all right. Oh my gosh, Star, thank you. Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome. You guys are the best. Yeah. Is Lasagna Love available to all states? So, Lasagna Love is very local. I am pretty sure they have a presence in all states, but that isn't like statewide coverage, right? So where I currently live, there aren't any Lasagna Love volunteers in the area except for like us because we're signing up to do that. But if we were 10 miles south of us, then that would be covered. And if we were a little bit north of us, then we would be fine. But there's like a gap in our community. So it is available in a lot of areas, but you have to go to the Lasagna Love website, enter your zip code, and then it will tell you whether or not there's a volunteer in your area that may be able to assist you because that's completely a volunteer organization. The people who make and bring you the lasagna are just ordinary people who signed up to do this and they're spending their own money making that and bringing that to you. So they get to kind of set the guidelines on, where they're comfortable delivering and how many a month they're willing to make and all of that other stuff as part of their signing up to volunteer in that program. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Sorry, guys. I can see messages disappearing and I hate that I'm not getting to them fast enough. Hopefully guys are keeping them tracked. Okay. Do you use apps like PayPal? Yes, we do. I do not know if the team has our PayPal link though, because usually I really don't expect that, guys. Let's see if okay, yeah. I will go ahead and drop that, but like I said, we do not expect anything, so only posting it because you asked me. I have to tell you guys, seriously, I had the hardest time deciding to even have channel memberships. It took a lot of persuasion for me to take that step because I never want you guys to feel like you're coming to low income relief and hitting a paywall, right? That would break my heart because we're here to help you guys. And I don't want you to ever feel like you need to do anything in return for that. That's not the message I would ever want to send. So even if you're on YouTube and you come across a video that's set to members only, that's kind of a thing I had to do for the membership structure that we ended up with. But all of those articles are available on our website if you would prefer to just go there and read it, right? And if you ask us questions, we're going to answer them. I hope you guys know that. I love you guys and I want to be helping you guys. And I don't ever want to have like money be an issue between you and getting help. So, not to invalidate any of the giving that's happened on the stream. We do sincerely appreciate that. We have significantly expanded our team in the last couple of weeks, and it definitely helps. I just don't want anyone to feel bad because they couldn't do it or feel obligated to donate. That's not the message I would ever want to send, but definitely gratitude. So hopefully that makes sense. I feel like I'm going in circles. What was that question? There was a question and I missed it.
What?
Something popped up and then it disappeared. Oh dear. Okay.
Here, why don't you read that?
Note all, some words YouTube will delete your comment to, not mods or channel creators. That's true. YouTube does its own filtering, and then we have a list of trigger words that also triggers the deletion of comments, just because we've noticed themes in things that especially like bots tend to say. Sometimes there's words in there that like bots just like to use that we don't see very often, so sometimes we throw those on there. And I do apologize if those are causing problems. We're just trying to keep the chat clean. Okay. There was a comment, something about Medicaid, and then it disappeared. Let's see.
I know what that one said.
Hang on.
It said Medicaid and Medicare couldn't help them find the doctor they needed, and they didn't know how to talk to them.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, was this it? I think this was it. Terry says, I have Medicaid and Medicare, but they won't help me get to the only spine surgeons that help me. Is there any help? Okay, if you haven't called Chapter yet, I would call them. And I know they're a sponsor, and I know that sounds like a sponsored message, but seriously, one of the things I love the most about them is they can look and see if there's any plans that are going to cover those providers. And so even if your Medicare plan couldn't do it, there may be, I'm not promising, but there may be another one that might be able to. And if there is, they're going to know about it. So that would be the first place I would go, because we do know that there are some medical grants out there, depending on the nature of why you need the spine surgeon. If there's some sort of medical condition that's been diagnosed there, you might be eligible for what's called a patient assistance fund. And we have another video on these, but they're really great, and they can help cover like the costs of your treatment. And sometimes they cover like thousands of dollars worth of stuff. And I know surgery is expensive, so I don't know if it would be enough to cover that, but patient assistance funds might be able to help. If you go look at our list of hardship grants, there might be some providers there who might be able to assist you. But those are always hit or miss, right? Because the demand is so high compared to the amount of funds available. So I would absolutely recommend that you call them first, because that would be where I would go, because it's going to be the easiest way to hopefully connect with some sort of help in that regard. Okay. Oh my goodness, Sandy, thank you. You guys are so awesome. I really appreciate that. You guys are the best. Okay. Oh my goodness, Terry. Okay. She says, I just called Chapter. The wait time is 3 hours. Usually the wait time is only 20 minutes. That's crazy. Now, I did talk to my contact at Chapter right after the government shutdown started, because I wanted to ask them, like, how is this affecting you and stuff. And one of the things that I heard is that they're having to do more things manually because some of the systems they rely on aren't being operational, I guess. I don't know how to phrase that, but that might be part of the delay. That is a really hard wait time to take, but I do know that statistically they're helping people save on average more than $1,000, so that's still a pretty high hourly rate if you think about it. I know that's still very unpleasant, but I think they're dealing with some hardship too and trying to do things more manually than normal, but yikes. I'll follow up with them and see if there's any like updates on the cause of that, or if there's any like prognosis that it's going to get better. I do know that we're in the thick of open enrollment season, right? And people only have until December 7th in most cases to figure out what they're going to do for their Medicare plan for next year. And so their lines are a lot more burdened than they are normally. Okay. For us who are on supplemental Social Security income, we automatically receive Medicaid, and when you turn 65 years old, you receive both Medicaid and Medicare. Yes, that is true. If you get SSI, you automatically get Medicaid. When you turn 65, you automatically get your Medicare, or you do get your Medicare, and then you have dual eligibility, and that helps with the costs. So that is awesome. Okay, we are going to have to get going here shortly because, ironically, after all the talk about lasagna love, Kaylee and I are supposed to be in the middle of making a lasagna. So, that's not burning, right? We did put all that on low.
Yes, we did.
Oh, good. Okay, it's on low. We should be fine. Okay. Oh, Brian, thank you. I think you are great. Thank you for being here. You guys are like seriously the best. I had so much anxiety about this video because just the breaking news and the way things are changing, and then seeing that it all changed right as we were getting started. And then today is also would have been my brother's birthday if he was still with us, but he passed away a couple of months ago. So a little bit emotional today. I do apologize for that, but you guys are awesome. Seriously, you guys are the best. All right. Well, let's see. We probably have to get going, which is sad because I feel like I'm hanging out with my friends and I don't want to have to go, but I probably need to go because, yeah.
It's
That-
all set up except for the together. It's not done yet.
You literally just said it's all set up except for the fact it's not, though, sweetheart. I know, because I'm thinking the same thing, but you know, like, yeah. All right, so Liz is saying, please try applying for LIHEAP. They'll help you with your utilities. And I know you used a different acronym. That's one of the state ones, but LIHEAP is operational in some areas. It's on pause in others because of the shutdown. We have a list on our website at, I think it's just lowincomerelief.com/LIHEAP that will take you to the list of what states are doing. So, all right. Phil says, hope we get our food stamps before Thanksgiving to get Thanksgiving food. Yes. Also, big thing. I'm glad you mentioned this right before we got off because this is big. Ibotta is back with their free cash back on Thanksgiving offer this year, and you can get cash back on EBT purchases. So if you do have an EBT balance and you download the Ibotta app, you can go to lirlinks.com/Ibotta to get it. And then you claim those offers, you pay for it with your SNAP benefits, you submit your receipt, you should be able to get cash back on that offer. Okay, that's a huge thing. We are also updating our Thanksgiving food list. We've gone through about half of it at this point. We will be coming back with another video very soon about different ways that you can get help with a free Thanksgiving meal as well, including whether you want to eat like a hot meal somewhere or you want to get free groceries for your meal or whatever. We are digging into all of those options that we can find nationwide, and we'll be doing a huge roundup on that. Also, if you missed it, I noticed a lot of people didn't see it, but yesterday we did our November freebie roundup where we talked about all of the different freebies and grants and different things for the month of November, and there was quite a bit in there as well. So I'd encourage you to go check out yesterday's video as we're signing off so that you can get that assistance as well, because there's a lot in there and not a lot of people saw it. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't like to share our videos. Oh, Donald, tomorrow is your birthday. Well, happy birthday to you. Thank you for sharing that. I hope you have a very wonderful day tomorrow. That's excellent. Oh, thank you, Ray. I appreciate this. Thank you. That's very, very generous of you. So, all right. I really appreciate you guys. Let's see. All right. Yeah, I think we gotta get going. I have never not wanted to go make a lasagna more than I do right now. I really just love hanging out with you guys. But it is time for us to sign off for today. So thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you. I know Kaylee really appreciates you. She's been absolutely glowing this week after all the time that she's been able to spend. What?
I tried to work out really quickly.
Yeah, she tried to sign in and help with the chat yesterday during her dental surgery, which was kind of hilarious. But she loves being here and being a part of this too. So thank you guys for all of that. Ooh, okay, I keep saying I'm gonna go, but then I keep not wanting to go. So 2 more things. Roberto says, Robert says, is it safe to buy food on Snap from Amazon? Do you have to give your PIN? I'm not sure if you have to give your PIN, but I do know that Amazon has been accepting Snap for a long time, and it's pretty safe. Like, their systems are pretty good. I do have You can get 50% off of Prime as well, which can help offset some of that cost. If you go to our link at lirlinks.com/Amazon, that'll take you to the discount page. A lot of people trust it. Most of the time, when people get their cards compromised, it's because they scanned their magnetic strip on a payment terminal that has a skimmer attached, right? Far and away, that is where most of the theft is coming from. That or clicking on a bad link. I've seen so many fake text messages where they're like, oh no, your card's frozen. You need to click here to open it. People click on it and they're in a panic. They give their card information and then that person goes and clones their card. So Amazon is safe. It's really those like physical at the store payment terminal skimmers you need to watch for, and those scam messages. Those are the things that mess people up the most. Mrs. Elma says, hey, Nicole, and I'm going to say, hey, because, oh, well, we accidentally, stop clicking on it. Okay. Hi, Mrs. Alma. I just had to shout you out because I know you're always here. Mrs. Alma is usually the first person to comment on all of our videos, no matter what channel we are posting to, which is just really appreciated. That kind of help really boost our videos, and we really, really appreciate that support. So, Star says, Miss Stephanie brought my lasagna this past Saturday. Oh my goodness, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you were able to get that too. So many of you guys are getting access to that help, and that makes me so happy. And yeah, I'm glad that you liked when I paused to text my kid yesterday. He was calling because of Kaylee at her dental appointment, and trying to log in and, work while she was under sedation. So Mrs. Alma says, my wedding anniversary is this Sunday. Happy anniversary, Mrs. Alma. That is great news. You guys are the best. That's awesome. I hope you have a very wonderful weekend. And I will be following up with you. I have an email for you that I need to send off here soon. So, okay. Let's see. Oh, thank you for being here. I want to highlight this one from Aisha really quick too. She's always in here too. She's on a lot of our videos and she's always very helpful. She says, we bought food on Amazon before and used Snap. Yes, it's safe. Yes, you have to use your PIN. So there you go. Thank you for answering that, by the way, because I wasn't sure, and I really appreciate you jumping in with that response. That's really helpful. This is killing me. I know I need to go, and I'm like super late, but I don't want to go. Okay. Alrighty, guys. You are the best. Okay. How do you set your Snap card so that it can't be used out of state? That's a good one. So I don't think this is available in all states yet. It really should be. And I know it's available in most states. But your state should have an official EBT app that you can download or an online portal that you can log into. And there should be a toggle there for blocking out-of-state transactions. That is one of the best ways to protect your card against theft. Because what happens is if you scan your card at one of those terminals that has a skimmer, or you fill out one of those forms after you get a bad link, they can just clone your card and they make like a duplicate card and then they can use it. And most of the time that happens, they're on the other side of the country and it's ridiculous. So if you block those out-of-state transactions, it's really good at helping protect the benefits on your card. Some states will also let you freeze your card between transactions, which, I mean, that's kind of annoying, right? Because you go shopping and you have to unlock it and you shop and then you lock it again. But it's a lot less inconvenient than waking up and finding out your benefits are gone. So state-created apps or websites are great for that. I think Propel has that functionality too, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I saw that they were working on implementing it. So, all right. Yeah, Linda's saying he's filing an appeal about Snap for tomorrow. Yeah, I heard that too, and we'll be watching it and following it. I think I just realized I don't even know what our video is supposed to be about tomorrow. Usually I have that written down in front of me so that I can tell you what we're doing. I guess with all the breaking news that's going on, my schedule has been getting messed up anyway, so maybe I should not promise you things that I may not be able to deliver depending on what madness unfolds in the next 24 hours. Yeah, so Diane, you just lock your card in either in the state app or the state portal website. They should have that option for you. Most states do. If you can't find it, let us know and we'll see if we can find a tutorial for you, but we'll need to know what state you're in and you can email that to us so you don't have to put it in the chat. Okay. Oh geez, we really are like gonna be very late, aren't we? God, it's so hard for me to leave when you guys are talking because I just want to be here with you. Okay, I'm gonna quit looking at the chat as much as that pains me because we really do have to go or we're gonna be in some serious trouble. So thank you for being here. We will be back tomorrow, hopefully with better news. We'll see what happens. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful night.